Google. Let's go get them again.
Welcome back to another episode of Samplin Samples. Today we are sampling from the brand of Coach, and this is their newest 2025 release called Coach for Men Eau de Parfum. So it's an EDP release of their original Coach for Men, which is a top seller of the brand. One of the top sellers, especially in North America, in the game overall, which is very surprising from a brand like this, but they are a cheaper lineup. Now, I only own one Coach fragrance, and it's the very rare one that's called Leatherwear, where they only had one fragrance in their stable. I'm sure your favorite fragrance influencer has no idea this thing exists. And I've only sampled one fragrance other than this one, of course, from the Coach lineup. Just recently, I had a sample of Coach Green. So I smelt that one. Yeah, lukewarm on that one. So it's nice to bulk up my impressions of this house, especially if you're new here. You're like, this guy doesn't know anything about fragrances. There is some brands that I just stray away from, that I'm not really interested. It's not that I purposely stray away, it's just I'm not interested. And I spend my own money on these fragrances. I don't go to TJ Maxx. I'm from Canada. We don't have those things. We do have things, discounters like our Winners and stuff like that here, but it's not something I'm into. But it's nice for me to bulk up my impressions on a brand, on this house today with the EDP version of the OG. The face of the fragrance I saw when I was just delving into this review is for marketing is Jason Tatum of the Celtics. A Celtic is the, if you know NBA or basketball, if you don't, forget about it. But I already hate it. I'm a Lakers fan, so anything Boston, no disrespect to anybody Boston, but my teams, Montreal Canadiens in hockey, we hate the Boston Bruins. I'm a Yankees fan. We don't like the Red Sox. I'm a Lakers fan. We don't like the Celtics. So unfortunately, Jason Tatum already brings it down. I already hate this fragrance. No. To be fair, there's a reason why I don't own many Coach scents. Will this one change my tune? Is it going to change my idea? Anybody that maybe is kind of new to my channel goes, oh, this guy's a niche snob or not. No. I was a huge bargain bin guy. Like a lot of my jewels and my fragrance, used to be. I'm still into it, but it's all like really older stuff that I delve into that are kind of like bargain bin. But there's a lot of jewels that I got that were like Gucci put on 1 and 2 were both bargain bins. They were $30 fragrances, and now they're hundreds of dollars on eBay. And they're great scents. I love them. So I used to dig into the crates back in the day too. So don't poo-poo me. And there is some great fragrances in the bargain bin, but there's a lot of garbage. And that's what I'm here for. So if you're new to this channel, welcome to the Robezoid channel. Welcome to the channel. My name's Mark, by the way. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, because I paid my own money for this sample. And you may think, oh, that's not a lot of money, but at the same time, a lot of my people that I go to for samples, I have my tried, tested, and true websites. They're all American. So now I'm getting hit like hard. Not only is the American dollar, when it's strong, the Canadian dollar is usually kind of not so good. I'm almost paying double of what American friends would be paying. Plus, of course, now customs and all that kind of hit me hard with the samples. So I really appreciate that you hit that like button. It's free for you. Subscribe's free for you as well. And you got a guy like me that I don't care if I spend my own money and I bash the thing. That's what I'm here for. I'm a reviewer. I'm not here to, a lot of fragrance people on the internet either get a free product or, they bought the product. That means they like it. So there's a lot of, I'm not just saying I'm the only one, but there's very few fragrance reviewers that will take the time and buy something like this. People in my shoes don't even pay attention to this kind of stuff. So, but I'm very much an open-minded guy that you may find a diamond in the rough. So that's kind of my thought process. And to my returnees, hey, welcome back. If you're interested in a Coach fragrance review, here we are. We got another one here. I'm kind of smelling my strip here to remind me of it. And I am wearing it as my scent of the day today. So let's go under the hood. Let's take a look at some stats on this one before we delve into the scent profile. Release date is 2025. It's a brand new release. The nose behind this is All-Star Perfumier Juliette Karagozoglu. So she does a lot of designer fragrances. Like I see her name all the time on fragrance reviews. Juliette's actually pretty good as a nose. Let's take a look at the notes, and then we'll take a look at the big notes to my nose. So in the introduction, we have cardamom and bergamot. Some spicy facets. It might be a green thing, right? Bergamot and cardamom both green. So we'll see what we get into that. In the mid, we got cedar and geranium. So of course, some woody aspects. Geranium can go several different facets. It can go rosy. It can go minty at some points, herbal. It depends what kind of geranium we're gonna get here. And in the back end, we got leather and vetiver. Okay. With Coach, of course, leather goods. Some brands, I just kind of think of leather goods. Here in Canada, we have outlets like Coach outlets, where stuff is fairly cheap. It's like probably the cheapest, quote unquote, designer brand. It's like the high end of the low end. It's like in those malls, outlet malls, where Hilfiger's there, Ralph Lauren, and then Coach is like the big one. Right? It's not in the outlet stores of like the Louis Vuitton, Gucci's and all that. No. It's in the lower end, but they have their security guards and all that, and you can get like belts and stuff like that. So always interested in seeing like brands like Hermes and this brand, Coach, where they make leather goods, put leather in there, no breakdown. Now the big notes to my nose: cedar, so we got some woods, geranium's a big boy in here, and cardamom. So let's see what I get. So as you know, this is my scent of the day, but I want to remind myself of the introduction of this fragrance. So we're going to do a little dab action, finish off the little sample, and we're going to launch it. Not a bad launch. Up top, Coach for Men EDP. Starts us off with a generic fresh opening of bergamot. Run of the mill. It's light. It's definitely bright. It actually kind of smells more like a lemon to me. That could be because of the geranium. So the geranium can give out a lemony touch. So that could be it. But it's definitely a citrusy top note up top. And I do get a little bit of spicy facets here and some green facets. Both of those can be attached to the cardamom, but I also get some green nuances from the geranium here. So, and again, when I'm talking about geranium and greenness, everybody goes automatically to mint. Is it mentholated? Is it minty? Absolutely not. It is herbal, but it's not mentholated. The brightness in this fragrance is mostly accustomed to the citruses, so a lemon bergamot combo here. Obviously the lemon from the geranium. Now within minutes, that opening goes into this shower gel and Broxin base. I'm not a fan of blueies. Very much notable. People know this when they log on to YouTube and they see my face, that if I'm reviewing a bluey, even some of the best in the game, Bleu de Chanel, not a fan. I'm not a fan of anything blue, honestly. I just can't do it. So it has this shower gel and Broxin base where you'll start thinking Sauvage. You're going to think Bleu de Chanel. Insert name here of a bluey. So it has that bluey kind of touch in this introduction. Now there is some slight sweetness from the cardamom and the citrus, but it's very minor. So usually blueies do have something, it has a lot more of a spicy facet where we're going to get into it, where Sauvage is more notable into that spicy facet than the Bleu. The Bleu has more of a grapefruit opening kind of thing going on. The cardamom itself is a fresh green spicy cardamom. The spicy facet from this introduction has a little bit of black pepper nuance, where it's also taken from the geranium. But it's very minor, so you have to kind of dig to find it. Some noses will absolutely miss the black pepper. It's not major, so it's not gonna make you sneeze. People that look at black pepper and no breakdown specific for them to kind of stay away from certain fragrances, I don't think this will affect you. It might, your nose might gravitate to it, but it's very minor. This opening tells me that this scent is going to be into this generic pile, easy to wear. It's slotting into this daily wear scent, this office wear, everyday scent profile. We have a gazillion of these. So, you know, my whole thought process of going into this, I was like, okay, what are we gonna get out of this fragrance? And it really just, it feels, this introduction at least, there might be some hope in the dry down. It really did feel a little kind of like ho-hum, right? We've smelt this before. Now the mid itself shows more of a soapy side of geranium. Ah, okay. While the scent starts going more woody and green. I was quite surprised how big of an impact the geranium had in this. Almost, dare I say, it's the primary note in this scent, because it's giving out several facets of the geranium. So you're getting herbal tendencies, not the best kind, right? I've smelled some really good geraniums in my day, like just one example, a niche fragrance, but it's called GERANIUM pour Monsieur by Frederic Malle. Obviously not in the same price point as this, but what a geranium that is. If you're looking for herbal minty facet, oof, that one destroys this. Understandably so, it should. But again, we do have some high-end fragrances that are $300, $400, $500 that can't hold a candle to geranium pour Monsieur and kind of smell like this kind of geranium. So it's very flat. But there is the spicy facet, the black pepper, and the soapy touches, even the lemon. So three-dimensional geranium in a way, yeah. Not the best quality, but it's giving out several facets, which you have to go back to the nose and applaud them, because Juliette is putting in different facets of the geranium here, and that's definitely not easy to put into fragrances. So it was a nice touch, honestly. So into this dry down, you start sensing this leather touch that they were talking about in this scent. It's as generic as a leather profile that you can imagine. You can softly say that it's a suede, but I think it's even a step down from that. I've smelt some suede-like fragrances, like just look at the Paco Rabanne 1 million line. You can start looking at newer releases that have leather in them, like dark leather from Spice Bomb. It's not a dark leather, it's a suede-like leather. That's a suede. It has its moments. In here, it had no moments. I really didn't think as a note that I probably would gravitate towards, that I was excited, right? In the intro, I was like really talking about the leather, right? I'd highly recommend anybody that is looking at this set because of the leather and looking at it and going, okay, maybe a leather-based fragrance, I would recommend not to. It isn't a big player, nor does it do anything really interesting. There's no smoke. There's no animalic touches, and not all leathers have to be built like that. They don't have to all growl. But it's not like going into a Coach store and smelling leather goods. That is something that I look at a basic point. You know, it doesn't have to be big, bold, like use birch tar and kind of make it smoky or make it animalic. No, but at least give me like at least a point of that I'm smelling leather goods in a way. It's not even close to that subject, not at all. It does get a little woodier in the back end here with the cedar and the vetiver combo. It felt a little almost kind of pine-like. It almost went like more green nuance than anything, almost with the mishmash of notes. But with the soapy quality of the geranium, now it starts going into like almost the, because I'm getting like this pine and kind of pine, not pine sol, but barbasol kind of thing, right? Where you're going into this aromatic barbershop-y vibe that you're gonna get. With like green pine nuances. So this ending is mostly green, woody, and soapy barbershop feel with a small touch of leather, very small touch. It's more mature of a scent because of that. Again, I don't know the whole lineage of Coach. Like I'm not a big Coach guy, like I said earlier, so I don't know, but I don't think it's anything new nor great in this genre, honestly. And I'm assuming it's probably one of the more mature scents from the lineup. But at the end of the day, overall, hugely redundant release here that brings nothing to the table. And I'm your one fragrance reviewer in this platform. One of probably a good handful, but the people that would dissect a fragrance like this, like I would, aren't reviewing this fragrance. So I'm one of the lucky ones, one of the few that will tell you how it is for someone that has such a big collection like this, even to newbies. And this is where I'm here for you guys, right? I don't have to tell you that everything's good because you can buy it or have a coupon code, or it's, just say what it is. Do you have more than 10 fragrances in your collection? Why do you need this? So it went from light bluey up top to a fougere green, aromatic green thing in the back end. Just not good enough in my opinion. If you're asking me. And if you're here, you probably are asking me, and I'm just telling you how it is. So let's go into Seasons, Day, Night, Versatility, and Performance. Seasons, Fall and Spring. It's a tweener. I think a lot of the introduction is more into almost spring, cooler summer days and the start of fall, but then the back end goes a little more rustic. So I like putting it fall and spring because of the fluctuation of weather. Day or night, this has to be a daytime scent. I just don't see the personality here. Yeah, it could be like if it's your first fragrance, you could do worse. You could do much better as your first fragrance. Again, I started with like Swiss Army and stuff. Like this is not any better than that. Even though Swiss Army is kind of a classic in my eyes, but daytime. But it can be a Swiss Army knife because there's not much personality to it, and that's why I slotted it in as daytime. Versatility high because it's so generic. So it's an everyday type of scent. And it all depends on your reviewer and how they value these things. For me, I don't value them. You gotta have, right? When you first start, you need some versatile fragrances. You have to. You can't just go start buying fragrances that are just like animalics, high leather, oud-based fragrances, and that's all you have. Well, what are you going to wear to work? What are you going to wear for this and that and that? So you got to have a couple Swiss Armies, but and there's so much of them, it's oversaturated in the fragrance genre that you could world your oyster in that kind of genre. You pick. If you got a big collection like mine, I probably have a few hundred that can do that. This is just in the sea of that. It's like way at the bottom somewhere. There's so many better fragrances for everyday use. And sometimes cheapening out with a brand like Coach, you can kind of sense the cheapness of it. And that goes into performance. Again, I'm not a performance guy. I actually don't value performance as much as the next guy. Some people like blowing doors off all the time. I want monster. I want beast mode all the time. I'm not buying a fragrance if it doesn't last 10 plus hours. Absolutely ridiculous, in my personal opinion. I'm looking for, famously what I say in my reviews, I go 7 to 9 hours for longevity is, the absolute best that I want. If it does more, good. I'll find suitable ways of that. And then for projection, I'm looking for just average. Some may have more, some may have less, but for me personally as a fragrance guy, I can pinpoint, okay, so what am I doing today? Where am I going? Am I going to be outside, or am I going to be in climate control? Am I going to be, playing basketball? Whatever. I can kind of form which fragrance I'm going to wear. So any performance kind of works for me, and that's why I don't value it too much. If you're if you're really poor, under an hour, yeah. Then I have an issue with you a little bit. But if you're great at under an hour, I'm still gonna own you. I think I would. So performance, longevity was poor, 3 to 5 hours. That's all I'm getting out of this fragrance. And I don't know about the rest of the Coach lineup. I only own the little guy that nobody owns. No influencer owns this. And that's kind of how I feel about this one. It's 3 to 5, kind of poor. And the projection was below average. So as far as performance goes, I don't know if this is a brand that is known for that. I don't know, no idea. But performance is kind of lacking on here. So if you're looking for good performance, you might have to look elsewhere. In this kind of genre, like bluey green scents, which are green is popular right now. They're a dime a dozen. If you're looking for more performance, just look it up and you'll find blueies and greenies that will do amazing things for you in performance. I would not recommend this for that. So now on to my final thoughts on Coach for Men EDP. So my final thoughts are that this is highly comparable to Sauvage Elixir, Sauvage, Bleu de Chanel. It does smell generic. It does smell familiar. So I'll have to revisit Elixir, but this isn't anything new or anything outstanding in the fragrance game on its own for me. For me to actually give this thing a thumbs up and go like, yeah, it's semi-decent. This is not even scratching that surface or that itch that I'm looking for in my fragrance reviews. The only reason I could see someone pick this up is that it's in the bargain bin and you just can't help yourself to buy it. It is $120 USD retail. Ouch. Absolute ouch. Now, forget it at retail. Please don't. At discounters, I'm assuming the Coach brand will go into the heavy discount line, which is probably around $60, $70 at discounts. And even at that price point, I'm thinking bargain bin here. At $60, $70, I don't even think it's worth that. I'm thinking bargain bin like $40, $30, like $39.99. And even at that point, you probably have something that does this for you and probably better. So if you have something like a Sauvage, any Bleu de Chanel, you can go as far as Y by YSL and any of its flankers, or Versace Eros. Like, this is just in that little family that does something a little different, but not, you can find this. Everyone has something like that. So why get this, right? I'm your voice of reason right now. Put your wallet away. You don't have to buy this. You don't have to finish the collection. Who's gonna flex on I have the whole Coach collection, right? Nah, don't do it. So if I had to give it a score, 2025 in the designer realm, we're going through a rough patch in the designer game. I could go on one hand, I don't even think I would finish my 5 fingers as far as designer releases in 2025 that are just solid. And I mean like a score like a 7 out of 10 and higher on my channel. Yes, I'm a little harder on fragrances, and why not? Because look at this is what I have. Guess what Sephora has? They have more than me. And among other, right? So there's, your world's your oyster. So if I had to give it a score, it's in there with the worst of 2025. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. This ties for one of the worst releases of 2025 with Rouge Dove's Apex Eau Intense, which has a little bit of green nuances, kind of like this thing a little bit, and Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Extra Dose, which was a very redundant release. So those 3 are tied right now as the worst for various reasons. Again, you see a Rouge Dove, which is extra expensive, versus a couple designers in the 2 score. Is any fragrance going to hit the 1 piece? We'll see. This was fairly close, but I think what pushed it at a 2 is because I know it's going to be a deep discount. But if it held that retail price and it wasn't discounted, no, I'm a big fat 0. Honestly, for 120, garbage. Now that you're my take, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Good, bad, and the ugly. Since I don't have much experience with the brand of Coach, you can always, if you have nothing to say about this release, if you know a lot about the brand, things like that, you can recommend me Coach fragrances. I will sample. I will spend my own money. A sample like this, even a little sample like this, will cost me around $10 to $15 Canadian, give or take, of a Coach release. So it is a lot of money thinking about it when you can get a full bottle probably for around $50 to $60 at discounters when they do hit discounters. So, but to give you my thoughts, I don't mind. So let us know which Coach fragrance, and if you have smelt this fragrance, you can go polar opposite. You can say, Mark, this is a 10. I don't care. Go ahead. I don't own any stock in Coach. I don't care. Stick with the fragrance, of course, to give your thoughts, but they can be the complete opposite of me. I'm not going to delete you. Yes, that is a thing on YouTube. People delete comments that are the complete opposite of them. Crazy. But I can't wait to see the comments below. And as always, a great report fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. You don't have to purchase. One thing that if you're clicking on this, I'll give you one tip. If you're new, you don't need to buy the newest releases. The older releases are less popular now. They're cheaper. It's not cheaper because they're crappier, but do your research. You can find, this is $120 retail. This is at the apex of its price point. It's not going to get any more expensive, and it's only going to get cheaper from now on. The more it's on, the more new releases Coach comes out with, the cheaper it gets. So why buy things straight away? Unless you have a YouTube channel, there's no reason for that. So that's my tip to you. Do your research. Older fragrances aren't bad. Compliments, Curve. Liz Claiborne, Curve. Thanks for watching, YouTube. And as always, a great report fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.